Ooh, oh wait, just kidding. We got it. Happy
Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday morning to everyone on Instagram, and happy Wednesday to everyone on Facebook. We're setting up our tripod in the right place there. Yeah. Is that good?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, good morning, Samantha. Hey, if you guys are just hopping in the live stream, are you going to share it?
Yeah. Sorry.
I just want to make sure it showed up in there. We're trying to make sure. So if you guys are just hopping in, like on Instagram, or not Instagram, on Facebook, let us know if you got a notification, because we're trying to make it so people are notified on Facebook. It's a little moody, that feature. So, I just messed this up.
Yeah, so it didn't get shared to it didn't get shared to the quarters.
It didn't.
Did not.
Should I send you the link? I'll send you the link.
Yes.
Sorry guys, we're trying to figure this out here. That was weird. Yeah, so basically we have our private Facebook page. Hi Onyx. It says Onyx Fox Art. Good to see you. Waving back to you. Yeah, so this thing happens. If you have a private Facebook page, you can go live in that Facebook group. But what we're trying to do is go live on our page, and then also share it to the group, so kind of everyone gets an opportunity, because we have some pretty exciting things to announce to y'all today.
Sorry, I have to go here.
Yeah, Kyle's gonna do some stuff. Ah, that's what it is. I see. Hey Trey.
You were entered. I can't send it. You have to just press it every time.
Okay. Oh, there it is. Got it. Beautiful. All right. Back to the live manager. Got a notification from Facebook, but it didn't push to my phone, says Allison. Okay, good to know. Nicole got one. Samantha got one. Good morning, Nicole, by the way. Trey just said, hey, everyone. Good to see you, Trey. It's always a good day when Trey's in the live stream.
Oh, always.
I'll tell you what. No hat for Nick. Just rolled out of bed and embraced the bed head. See?
Yeah.
Pretty exciting.
We realized that quarantine is not a time of glamour.
Hey, look. Nazi Kaufman is in here.
Hey, Nazi.
On Instagram. Hey, Nazi. It's good to see you. I didn't know that she was following us on Instagram, so.
That's so exciting.
It's nice. Yeah, so I'm not sure if Nazi's been in a live stream before, but we do this quite often. We live stream Instagram as well as Facebook. We're kind of letting people join, kind of pile in, because we have some fun stuff to tease today. Obviously, we have more journals on the way, but we have something very special, as the title of the Facebook Live indicates. We're going to share the official completed map of Istoria. Now, for those of you guys who don't know what Istoria is, Istoria is the name that we've given, kind of the land of Istoria is the name we've given where the story takes place, where the kind of hypothetical story, the hero's journey story, takes place in the journal. That's kind of the land. We've given the characters names and things like that. It's kind of just to sit in the background for you while you do your own hero's journey. But we wanted to give some context and a little bit of lore, a little bit of world building to this fun place. You know, you would never notice it if you just wanted to get a journal and use it. But for those who are kind of really into the brand and really interested in the kind of stuff we like to create, it might be something you enjoy looking at. But regardless of who you are, whatever camp you fit in, whether you like love the lore stuff or you don't like it, you just want to achieve a goal, this map is truly worth looking at.
Mm-hmm.
I would not waste your time. I wouldn't dare waste our time, but I wouldn't waste your time either. This map is truly worth a look. It is gorgeous. It's super well made. Also, Joe Fulton just put an emoji in here, and it's pretty not in here in Facebook. A little Bitmoji. It's pretty exciting. So
Super exciting.
monochrome moose, which is a great Instagram tag.
I like it a lot.
Just ask, for purposes of stream, should I watch on Instagram or Facebook? You guys are both going to get the same stuff. I'm going to screen share on Facebook, but what I'll do is I'll just show the people on Instagram like my screen, and it should be sufficient.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. So hey,
I guess what I could do is that I could join it on my phone and I could hold my phone up so it'd have two, so it'd still have our faces.
I think it's okay.
I mean, it's probably really convoluted, but still.
So I guess to answer your question, monochrome moose, if you like looking at a portrait, stay in portrait. If you want to see it landscape, go to Facebook. Your call. It's gonna be awesome either way.
Yeah. I might butcher this, but I think it's Mariana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're super excited as well. I think it was really interesting because we were like, we want to build a map. And then Ryan, the artist of the art inside of the journal, built us a map, and it was truly incredible. And it was incredible to see this world that we had ventured out to build, kind of like in form.
Yeah.
With names of places and so on and so forth. And then we had the unique experience to work with like an actual cartographer, someone who is both an artist and also is specialty is maps.
Yeah.
So she was able to help us build almost like a true rendition of what it would look like if it was a real place. So that is something that we're extremely excited about. We shared the link.
Yeah, for those of you wondering, I know that we have a lot of writers as well in our group, so if you guys are like writing a fantasy novel, you want a map made, I couldn't recommend Misty B more. I put the link in the Facebook description. We'll tag her on Instagram once we post the map, so you'll see who made it. But we can't recommend her enough. She's so enjoyable to work with. She's incredibly thoughtful, very professional. She does live in France, so there's a bit of a language barrier, but she overcomes it, flawlessly, and she's just like a joy to work with. It's Kyle.
Yes, I'm Kyle.
Sorry. Kyle's the one raising his hand.
That's Nick.
I'm Nick.
Yeah.
Just two white guys with 4-letter word names.
Yeah.
We're basically interchangeable.
Yeah, so we're not offended.
We're not. So Kyle's in the Eagle shirt. I'm usually the one, because we live stream on like my laptop and my phone, so I tend to be closer because it's on my desk. Maybe that's a way to help.
Yeah.
I'm the one with the gross mustache. That's Nick.
And I'm the one with long hair. We went over that way too long.
Yeah.
I'd really be making more. More journals or more like tropes. I guess. Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm Trashbeard. Thank you.
That was amazing. Yeah. Cool. So we have a few things to talk about really quick. So it is Wednesday, which means yesterday was Tuesday, which means the letter from the mentor was sent out. So if you haven't already read it, it's probably in your inbox. It'll be from the mentor at theheroesjournal.co. And guys, this, I'm telling you, this is incredible content. If you have 2 minutes, it's a really quick read. There's a little comic to go along with it. It's something that we put a lot of work into, and we work hard to make sure that it's like a free resource for you guys. So we hope that you take advantage of it and just read it. Like it's supposed to be enjoyable. We want to know what you think about it.
Yeah.
It's about the shadow self this week. Zach did an incredible job. Ryan did an incredible job. Go read the letter from the mentor.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we're gonna talk about something else, right?
Our favorite sights and smells.
That's right.
No sounds and smells.
That's right. So, yes, it was yesterday, right? Yeah. Yesterday's side quest for the quarantine quest. Those of you following along, the challenge was to list your favorite smells and sounds, not sights. just your smells and your favorite sounds. We thought it would be kind of fun to kind of split the difference here and show you the new map in all its glory, zoom in and everything, but also talk about our favorite imaginary or hypothetical smells and sounds
For each place.
Does that sound fun to everyone? That'd be great. Lauren said that she loved that letter. Thank you for your feedback, Lauren. She said, I really like the connection to Frodo and Gollum. I agree.
Yeah.
Really well done.
Zach's like working on a different wavelength sometimes. He says things that I know to be true, but I never could think of myself.
Mhm.
So
yeah, really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Gets into Jungian psychology, which is stuff that we really, really admire, really love. So, great. All right. You guys want to hop into this?
Let's do it.
Should I tease this first?
Hi, Jackie. Yeah.
Hi, Jackie. So one thing, I guess one reminder before we hop in, sorry, I know we keep pushing it back, is that we are going to have pre-orders open on June 1st. So we announced it in the last live stream, but we're going to say it again. We're going to continue to say it. June 1st is the day that you can pre-order second edition of the Hero's Journal. No one has it quite yet. We're still getting ready to start shipping, but June 1st is the day you can start to pre-order. A shipping date will come later on, but for now, we're looking at June 1st. So mark your calendars. What you could potentially pre-order that day: the Origin Pack, which is 1 journal and a few other goodies. Sequel Pack, 2 journals. You get to pick the colors, and then a few other goodies. And then the Trilogy Pack, which is like everything we've ever made and some really special stuff, including like postcards, enamel pen. There'll be a sticker sheet that's like exclusive to the Trilogy Bundle. There'll be some postcards. I think I already said that. But it'll all come in this very enticing wax stamped.
You want to do both? Yeah.
Is that too close?
No, you're good.
Can't see. Wax stamped envelope here with the Hero's Journal wax seal. For Instagram, you can see it there, and that's for Facebook. It'll all come in this, as well as your 3 journals. Trust me, we worked really hard to make this feel special. I mean, the vibe was like a letter from Hogwarts or like a letter from Gandalf. Like, we wanted to make it really feel like you're about to go on like one epic adventure, if not 3 different adventures for the Trilogy Pack.
And the postcards are real postcards.
They're real postcards. You can actually send these postcards to people. How amazing would it be if someone in the Heroes' Quarters sent a postcard to someone else in the Heroes' Quarters? That would be extremely exciting.
There are 333 Trilogy Packs.
Yep, yeah. Mariah asked a good question. Are they going to be limited? Yes. So we are going to put a limit on some of the pre-order stuff, one of which is the Trilogy Pack. So we can only afford to do 333 units. We thought it was fitting for the trilogy anyway, so 333 kind of bundles, if you will, are going to be available. And by the way, I should also mention one of the more exciting details about it. The Trilogy Bundle gives you 1 of each color journal that we're coming out with. So it gives you 1 Mountain Gray, 1 Dragonfire Red, and 1 Wildwood Green. And no one has the green yet, but guys, the green is gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
The gray, we're really glad it's back. It's very neutral and very beautiful in its own way. The red is obviously classic and loud and kind of like, look at my Hero's Journal. But the green is enchanting and subdued, reserved, yet enticing. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll stop that.
We're done selling the journals.
Yeah, I feel like I'm on like paid programming, like
Yeah.
2 a.m. Okay, so that's the Trilogy Bundle. Let's see if there's any other questions. Can't wait. Good morning, Cheyenne.
Good morning.
Cheyenne, while you're here, I need to apologize. I took way too long to respond to your Facebook inquiry. You tagged me in it. Yes, a gift exchange is something that I am totally a fan of. I think we should do it. I think it's great. Yes. Good question, Cheyenne. We will not be limiting how many bundles one person can buy, right, Kyle?
No. I mean, yeah.
I mean, don't buy all of them.
Yeah.
That'd be
tough.
a little anticlimactic. Yeah.
We are going to release pricing and a breakdown of everything tomorrow via email. So,
Yep.
if you're on our email list, go ahead and And if you're not, go ahead and go to our website. You can sign up for our email at the bottom. There also is probably a pop-up that will show up when you go into our website. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
You know, Monochrome Moose on Instagram just asked a really good question. We get this question a few times. We have to continually address it. So thank you for asking this. They asked, is the inside the same? If they are, I can buy the Trilogy pack and keep in the red, give the other colors to a few other people. So yes, the inside of all the different color journals is the same. There are a few aesthetic changes based on some of the art. Otherwise, it's completely the same.
Yeah.
You're going to have 90 daily pages. There's new daily pages that are, like if you have the digital bundle, you've seen the inside of the newest second edition version. But guys, like having it in paper, having it in hand, it's like, I hate to say it, but I'm still using the original version for my quests. It blows this one out of the water.
Yeah.
So if you guys love this one, the second edition is like, it's so gorgeous. It's super well made.
Mm-hmm.
The art, like Ryan, like knocked it out of the park. It's really well made. So we're super proud of what we made, and we're really excited to show it to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Let's jump into the world of Istoria. I'm ready.
Yep. Here we go. So, like we said, we had this map commissioned for us, and we're just gonna hop right into it. Here we go.
So you should move the tripod in front of your screen right here.
Good call.
So that everyone can see our tripod.
Everyone buckle your seatbelts, because we're about to transport. Get close to my mustache. I'm gonna fix this tripod. There we go. Here we go, guys. Going to the land of Istoria. Is that good for everyone on Instagram?
Oh, I can see it right here.
All right, here we go. Oh, that's Misty B's website. There's our map. All right, so I'll get this a little more settled here. Cool. So there it is in all its glory. We're gonna zoom in and stuff like that. Thank you, Nazi, for the feedback. Everyone was quiet on Instagram, but yeah, there it is, the land of Istoria. Let's see here. You actually want to pull it up on? Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how I can do both of these
Yeah, I
at
can
the same
see it.
time. Kyle's gonna take over the Instagram zooming and stuff. But here it is. I guess we can do a quick kind of zoom in. We'll start in the Humble Hills, since that's where the adventure starts anyway. Oh, that was not good. Sorry, guys. I accidentally switched the scene. Cool. So this is the Humble Hills.
Sorry, 1 second.
And again, land of Istoria. We can start here in the Humble Hills. So again, yesterday's challenge for the quarantine quest was to list your favorite smells and sounds, and we kind of wanted to transport ourselves. I mean, this map is so well made. I mean, obviously the landscape is incredibly unrealistic. The biomes make no sense next to each other, but it looks so it's so visceral. You can really kind of see yourself in there. So I guess we'll start at the Humble Hills.
Yeah. So I think of Humble Hills like I think about like the morning after rain. You know when you step outside, the word's actually petrichor, for those of you who did not know the word.
Petrichor. Some people listed that in the Heroes Quarters.
Yeah, it's the smell of first rain on dry soil. But that's what I think about. I think of it as like this kind of like damp, dewy smell. And for me, like I feel like you step out and like it's like the world is your oyster. You have all of like everything's in front of you, nothing's behind you kind of thing. And that's the kind of vibe that I really like about the Humble Hills, especially from a smell standpoint.
Good, yeah, that's really good. It's funny. I think of it more because I'm from Kansas. I was born in Kansas, and there's like this specific smell to like, I mean I don't know a lot about it, so I'm gonna sound probably a little uneducated, but like the agricultural smell of like wheat, what?
Nazi said nice use of SAT vocabulary.
There you go. Nazi's like a school administrator, so we're under the telescope under the microscope on this.
Yeah.
So she's watching our grammar, but yeah, I guess I think of it like agrarian, kind of like the smell of like wheat fields, if that makes sense. There's like a interesting like smell that's specific to wheat fields. We have like obviously some agriculture here in Washington, but back in Kansas, lots of wheat, and seeing these little like kind of piles of what looks like hay maybe just kind of takes me back to there. So it's like a simpler time, simpler place, and that's the Humble Hills. Obviously, you've got like a little fenced area here. You got some farms, little farmland. So if you haven't had a Hero's Journal, you'll see it more clearly. There's actually a whole Humble Hills daily page, and it's really well done. It's very like, I'll be honest, it's very much like the Shire from the Lord of the Rings. Just enough to not get sued, though. Really great. Should we move on?
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to
Wildwood Ruins.
Yeah, you could just say the Greater Wildwood.
Yeah.
So it's made up of a few different little subsections here. You have the Wildwood Path, which is the entrance to the forest. You have some of the Wildwood Ruins. Then you have the Murkmire, which sounds evil, and it is a little evil. Then you have a little tent right here, which is a nice little detail. That's where the hero pitches his tent, also on the daily page. But
thank you, Hound91. We think it looks really great too. We're super excited about it.
yeah.
As far as this area,
Yeah, Kyle, what do you hear? 'Cause we did smells. Let's do sounds for the Wildwood.
so I feel like the tent area right here feels it feels like it sounds quiet, like the sound of being very quiet
Like
and
on the river.
tranquil, right?
Next
You
to it.
hear the river, maybe some birds chirping, but I would imagine not a lot of additional there's not a lot of additional sounds.
Yeah.
Whereas as like the Murkmire, as you approach the Murkmire a little over here, I imagine it's still just as quiet, but there's something eerie about the quietness as things maybe get darker, maybe you move a little bit more into a swamp-like area. Yeah, I can imagine that
feel like I'm
sound
there.
feels a little eerie.
I feel like I'm there right now. Yeah, I'm thinking of the Wildwood Path. I think it's kind of like right when you kind of leave the road, so to speak, and you get off the beaten path, you move into a forest, and I hear like birds chirping. I hear sticks being stepped on and cracked by like small like rabbits and stuff like that, and you're kind of walking through with like the crunch of like leaves and stuff. Yeah, it's like to me it's actually a bit. It's almost like a hike. Like it kind of has that same the same sound effect to it. So it's kind of what I hear there. And then I think the ruins. When you approach the ruins, there might be sound around you continually, but everything kind of goes silent, and you just kind of stand in amazement at these ruins. So yeah, that was good. That was a fun one. It does feel eerie. She even look at all the detail here. Even the colors, they get darker, and you can see there's a little spider web. That's due to the fact that this area of the forest has kind of been taken over by the climbers. Not the climbers, the crawlers. Sorry, little spider guys. So yeah. Anyway,
We're getting some pretty good comments here on the.
yeah. Sorry, we're not able to monitor
Yeah.
everything.
So I like the addition of Jackie and Tanya and Melissa. It's like woodpeckers, crows cawing, and bullfrogs, squirrels chattering.
I love it. This
Yeah,
is great.
like, that definitely is exactly how I would feel.
What else? Is anyone saying anything about the Humble Hills that we?
Oh yeah, we missed one. Trey actually had a really good one. Trey said, "I love the scent. To me, Humble Hills is a pleasant scent of fresh bread and pastries."
Ooh.
Yeah, I can feel
That's
that.
really good.
It almost feels like a
'Cause, yeah, that's great.
what in the Grand Budapest Hotel? What's the name of the pastry place?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah,
I don't remember. But for those Wes Anderson fans out there, there's a pastry. I think it's Saoirse Ronan who plays.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, I love that movie. Not as much as you, but I do love that movie.
All right, we moved to the Dauntless Dunes.
You want to go back to sounds? I guess we can do both. So what do you hear and smell when you approach the Dauntless Dunes, Kyle?
The Dauntless Dunes smells. So, it's interesting. So, like, I think that the Tomb of the Tortoise is like extremely like you go in there and it's just like mildewy. Right. It's a tomb, right?
It's got to be mildewy.
But the outside is gonna feel and smell. All of my Arizona friends are gonna laugh at me, but it's a dry heat, right? It's like there's like a smell to the dry heat that is very specific to like a desert feel.
Yeah.
we had a question: is what's the Dauntless Dunes? Dune.
Mm.
Yeah. So the Dauntless Dunes are, maybe I said it wrong. I don't know, but the Dauntless Dunes are the area that the hero must pass and overcome to get to the Snowfall Pass and then into the mountains. So it's where the hero first meets a tortoise.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of, in a lot of ways, for goal setting, it embodies like the wilderness or like the desert that you have to go through,
right?
Where times can get extra tough. So
yeah, well said. Yeah, I think approaching the Dauntless Dunes, it kind of smells and sounds dry. You have the sound for me of like sand being kind of blown to and fro. It's very quiet, but kind of that sound of like sand being dropped on sand, I guess, is kind of what I think of. It's a quiet place. It's like it's a desert. It's very desolate, and it's kind of what I think of. But the Dauntless Dunes is representative of, I think, kind of the goal journey, and the sense of it. I think of the Dauntless Dunes as the moment that things stop being sexy, or the moment things stop being exciting. Everyone gets really excited when they start doing their new goal. You start writing a novel and you make some progress. You start going to the gym and you're kind of riding that high of that initial habit. Some people would call it like a pink cloud even. And then at some point you hit this place where the excitement wears off, the novelty is gone, and it's just you and the habits you've built looking at this goal kind of in the face. I think that's what we think of the Dauntless Dunes. It's like you see the ruins in the Dauntless Dunes, and that's intentional. The idea there being like you have like heroes of old who kind of gave up on the way. Like their monuments have fallen. Like you have the ruins of other journeys, other goals that were given up on and tossed aside. And you're kind of in this place now where it's like it's just you and your own motivation. Mm-hmm. And how far are you going? For it's kind of like, I guess it's sort of like is it 40 days in the desert, right? Mm-hmm. Like 40 days, 40 nights in the desert. Obviously, there's like a literary motif there. Anyway,
we have a couple of comments.
Yeah, what do we got?
So Dor Noki on Instagram said that they're currently in the Dauntless Dunes and their goal. They said they're making insane progress and now got hit with a big challenge.
Yep.
That's definitely something that goes there. And then my high school track coach jumped in here, and he said, long stretch of loneliness and no end in sight, a real test of mental strength to get past the things that surround you that you mentally put into your mind with no real profess to be seen. Yeah.
Wow. That's really well. That's super well said.
Yeah, that is a really good point.
I'm gonna have to rewatch this later for that.
And then we gotta throw in some of the sights and the smells and sounds other people are hearing.
How are we doing on time?
We're at 20. It's gonna go long.
Okay.
So people are hearing the wind, the swish of sand, and the smell of heat. I couldn't have said that one better.
Yeah.
Trey, a sharp cold dampness hitting the wind. Some mildew, but your voice cracks against the wind.
Wow.
You could tell he's a writer.
You could tell Trey's a writer.
Yeah, Tony said the footsteps hitting the hard ground, and then Cheyenne said soft crunching underfoot.
This is great.
Yeah,
I really enjoy. I feel like I'm there right now.
Yeah, I'm in this.
I know.
When the honeymoon period is over and it starts to feel like work.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, this is really great.
I love this. Okay, let's continue on with our collective imagination of this place.
Yeah. So now we're moving into Snowfall Pass and the Perilous Peaks. We're going to do the Cave of Contemplation separate. So we're just going to do the area of the Snowfall Pass as you enter this, and you get closer to this little cave here.
Yeah.
Right there.
I can pull up kind of the reference. My journal's all filled out though. But. So obviously, guys, as you know, this is the mountain, right? This is the Perilous Peaks. Here's the scene in the journal. This is from the original version, so it's very old. But yeah, if you use a journal, you know where this is. It's kind of like smack dab in the middle of the journey. This is the third daily page of 5 in the original journey. We have 9 daily pages now with the second edition, but anyway, so you're kind of, truly kind of at the peak, right? I mean, if you're like splitting your journey up into sections, this is sort of the middle part You walk into Snowfall Pass, and I guess Kyle, I'll ask you again. What do you smell? What do you hear?
So the reason I didn't use wind necessarily for the Dauntless Dunes is because I feel like I'm really hearing the wind now. Like you're moving up into higher altitudes. It's cold. It's very crisp against your face, and you're just hearing the wind like hit against these mountains. Whether it's trying to pass over them.
It's like a blizzard
from one side. Yeah, it's like a blizzard from the other side.
Yep.
And I think we're kind of moving back into that, like as you go higher up in altitude, it starts to smell really like even more crisp maybe than it smelled like next to the water. But it's like when you're high up and the smell of snow and like the cleanness, it's just, yeah, it's like whenever, I mean, this is going to be a total advertisement for the city of Seattle, but whenever I get off like an airplane from somewhere else at SeaTac, it's just like the cold, sweet air like hits you in the nose and it smells really good.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about the Snowfall Pass / Perilous Peaks.
Yeah, I feel cold just like talking about it, you know. And it's funny because I think it's not your sound was a lot more a lot louder. Yeah. When I think snow, I actually think like extremely quiet. I think it's very like all the sound is very dampened around you. The snow is kind of absorbing the sound waves that would be bouncing off, and you just kind of hear your feet crunching in the snow, and then like if you stop and look around, like you hear nothing. That's kind of what I think Snowfall Pass is. So yeah, anyone else have any good input?
Yeah, so a lot of it is the smell of ice. Inside of your nose goes cold.
Yep.
The invigorating scent of cold and snow, like that.
Yeah.
And then Cheyenne had that. The storm comes after the hottest day, the chill of the harsh reality. It becomes harder to breathe as you climb in elevation. It seems cold. You start to see your breath. I'm there. I'm like in that.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's good
Crunching
stuff.
of the snow, the smell of crisp, lean air rushing into your lungs.
Wow.
Though cold, the ice smells fresh and clean. We had a question. Someone said empty, quiet, stillness.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess if it wasn't snowing, it would definitely have the stillness aspect of that.
Perilous Peaks.
We had a question. Do you guys know about the commitment and no turning back part? I don't understand the question 100%. So
yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Is that Instagram or?
Yeah,
that?
Instagram. Yeah.
Do you want to move on?
Yeah.
Cool. So then you obviously go from the mountain, kind of snowy pass. In the journal, the story there's kind of a group of penguins, is what we're calling them. Penguins. It's kind of like a penguin, but it's not. It's a
penguin.
It's a penguin.
Yeah.
Penguins, they're trying to be safely escorted through the mountain pass, but there is a bunch of gulls there.
Gulls.
Gulls that are blocking the way. The idea with having like these trolls in the mountains, there was, for me, whenever I think of this part in the goal setting journey, this is where I think the impact of other people comes into play. The opinions of others, and really the people that might be in your circle that don't have that same like fire under their feet that you might have for something. They might not understand why you're going after this goal so intensely. They might even make fun of you for it. These are kind of like the people that are trolling your goal, and it's important to avoid them, And that was kind of the whole idea here. It's not like we didn't want the hero to have to get in a fight with the Gauls. We didn't want there to be some showdown. We wanted the hero to kind of weave, himself through this challenge, the challenge and the opinions and kind of the threat of other people to his quest. And then you kind of have like these vulnerable penguins that kind of represent the goal as well. Like they represent that idea of like, I have to keep this close to me because it's special to me and I can't let it be, compromised by revealing too much of myself or being too open or too vulnerable with these goals. So that was kind of like the deeper literary meaning of the Perilous Peaks for those curious. I kind of went really into that, but
no, I'm sorry. I just laughed at Nicole's. She said, "I see the penguins and I smell fish in the penguin exhibit at the zoo."
Love it. All right, into the Cave of Contemplation,
yeah.
Which I feel like it might be a little on the nose, but
it's probably the most on the nose of all of the different biomes that we have.
It's true. Okay, Kyle. So you walk down the stairs from the Perilous Peaks. You're not freezing anymore. What do you smell and what do you hear?
Being in a cave is a very weird feeling.
It's a super. We've been in a cave together.
We have
actually.
Yeah, near Mount St. Helens.
Yeah, longest cave in. I know the state of Washington, but maybe.
I don't know where.
Yeah, the Ape Caves. For those curious, Kyle and I were in a completely pitch black cave once.
Yeah, and there's this weird, and I'm guessing it probably feels similar to the Tomb of the Tortoise, but there's this very I feel like there's always a breeze somehow, but it's not a breeze, but there's just this stagnant cold feeling of a cave. And I feel like that has a very damp smell in the same way. I mean, I feel like we're kind of going back and forth in the same kinds of smells. I feel like the smells are really going to change as we go towards the city of Fortia. But yeah, the smell of rustic earth.
It's cold, man.
Yeah.
Caves are cold. People don't talk about it, especially caves like this one that have two. They have an entrance and an exit. You don't go in and go out the same way. There's just a flow of air in there, and it tends to be very cold. So I mean, I know we're doing smells and sounds. The interesting thing about a cave, though, especially one that looks like this, a darker one, is that really all you have is sound and smell to go off of, because being in an actual cave, it's pitch black. If you don't have any light, you're not able to see anything.
Yes.
So you're very much relying on them. I hear a dripping, actually. I hear the drip of kind of melted snow that's kind of made its way through the earth and is kind of dripping onto the, to kind of give you a sense of almost like a bat, you have a sense of how big this space is, based on the sound of that dripping. That's what I would hear. Yeah. Any other good comments on it?
Yeah, so we have a lot of people are agreeing on the mustiness and the dank freshwater smell.
Yep.
As always, Trey gave it. I think Trey should just narrate our lives. The scent of damp rock and stronger mildew assaults you, an incessant dripping pervading your ears. The soft cold grows stronger into the freezing straitjacket. Into a freezing straitjacket.
Man.
Is it a windy cave, a cavern of the wind style? It could be.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, I think it's more quiet than anything. I mean, I think that's the contemplative part about it. I guess while we're on that, it's kind of, the Cave of Contemplation is sort of supposed to represent the switching, in the hero's journey. It's kind of this idea of going from the external journey to the internal journey of a hero. We think it's so important to pick the right quest for your life, and this is why. Because when you get to this place, when you've gotten down, you've traversed the terrain of starting a new goal. You've gone through the hard work of getting through the forest, getting through the desert, getting through the peaks. You've proved to yourself that you can go to the gym consistently. You've proven to yourself that you can sit down and write consistently, or you've proven to yourself that you had the gumption to sign up for that class and continue to go, or to save up that amount of money. You kind of hit this point where the habits are down pat, you've locked them in, and then there is this contemplative place where the internal journey starts to take place. The external journey is somewhat taken care of. The internal journey starts to take over, and you start to ask deeper questions. Now that kind of the minutia of the surface is taken care of, you start to ask why am I doing this? Why did I start this? What was the purpose of doing this in the first place? So that's kind of the deeper idea there, especially with a fitness journey. I think everyone wants to look sexier or lose weight, and then once you start to do that, you get to a place of maybe I didn't want to lose weight. I just wanted to feel more self-confident about my body image, right? So that's a good example of it. So anyway, the Cave of Contemplation for us is supposedly that place in the journey where the hero starts to kind of, and everyone's goal looks different. The timeline looks different for everyone, so we didn't want to impress that on everyone. Mm-hmm. But just kind of the way we made this world up, that was kind of the concept there.
Yeah. We have a couple things I want to cover on the... That was really well said, by the way.
Thank you.
So going way back, Cheyenne mentioned that the perilous peaks makes me think of sidestepping and anxiety. Mm-hmm. On the edge of a cliff, one misstep and you can fall. You're halfway there and you can get lost easily.
Yeah.
That's like
You can get shot all the way back to day one.
And then we have people. Kira hears stillness, loose rocks rolling, might smell dampness, hear drops of water dripping, hear echoes in vastness, cool, damp stone, emptiness, echoes dripping. And then we have another one from Cheyenne. From the bright white quiet of the snow, you step into the blinding darkness. Your eyes have to now adjust to your new reality, your new habits, and your new mindset. You smell dirt, you hear water trickling down the walls. Everything echoes. This is where repetition is important, not redemption. Repetition. Echo yourself. Echo your knee habits.
Yeah.
Any habits. I mean, yeah.
I love it.
That's so great. Maybe rushing water from the underground river at the bottom of the ravine. Yeah, that's a good catch, because you can't actually see the water in this map, but the water in this map you can see. So,
well said. Cool. And then, we have Volgrim's Vault. So for those not familiar, Volgrim is the name of the dragon. That's the name that we've given him. So we really like that name. We felt it was kind of sinister enough. So Volgrim's Vault is sort of the door out of the cave. For those who have looked into the actual hero's journal before you've used it, there's a scene where the hero encounters the dragon. There's kind of the shadow self that's following the hero around the entire tale, and then he actually springs forward. He sort of inhabits the dragon, as kind of possesses him, takes him over, and then the dragon attacks the hero. The hero being all alone, he doesn't have the Tortoise or the penguins or the climbers to help him out. He gets defeated, and then the dragon actually flies off to kind of wreak havoc on the rest of Istoria. So you kind of have the moment, the classic hero's journey moment where the heroes reach their abyss. Like, they've been defeated, they've been, kind of outed. This is kind of like the death moment. So you have the hero truly fall, right? And then you have the dragon fly out of Volgrim's vault, flies into Stepberg, and unfortunately,
it died.
Stepberg gets destroyed. It gets destroyed by the dragon, which is a shame, because in this rendering of the map, it really does look beautiful. How did that die?
Yeah.
The tripod died, so
yeah.
it just went limp.
I need to get the charger for it.
I got it.
Sorry, everyone. On Instagram, that was probably pretty wild. I'm trying to hold it still right now. That was pretty... It got so aggressive. Yeah. Oh, this is a USB-C.
All right. So while Kyle's getting that plugged in, for those of you guys on Facebook and I guess on Instagram, in this part of the scene, the hero's walking out to Stepberg, but you kind of have to imagine Stepberg as like a burned down village. Do it again. There you go. So anyway, so in your imagination, if you can, Stepberg is supposedly this kind of like burned down village. You're walking out of the cave. You have scrapes and bumps and burns all over you, and you're kind of having to walk through the darkest part of the journey. Mm-hmm. You're kind of seeing what failure looks like, the aftermath of failure, what it can look like when the dragon wins, right? I'm curious if anyone has any comments on what that moment's like or what that scene is like for the hero.
Yeah. The dragon accidentally summoned. You feel your first failure. There's nothing to fix this. The only thing you can hope to do is save what's left and repair the rubble when it's said and done.
Mm.
And Lauren says, she smells wood smoke.
Yeah.
Which I feel. Especially, this one, like, if you've seen the cutaway page in the journal, there's
right.
a lot more. There's probably a lot more things you can pull from. Being that this is merely a map,
right.
You can't necessarily know exactly what everything looks like, but
because Stepberg looks very pleasant here.
Yeah.
It looks like a really nice place. Unfortunately, in the journal, it just gets very destroyed.
Yeah. But actually, Stepberg was probably the biggest upgrade that we've had from like rough draft to final draft.
Yeah.
Misty absolutely killed the game on Stepberg. It looks so cool.
It really does. Yeah, if you can see this house in the corner here, it's kind of like being under construction. You can see the frame of the house. That's kind of what everything looks like once Volgrim runs through and lights the whole thing on fire. It's just kind of like all you have is the frames of houses, and they're charred black. And then the hero's kind of like stumbling through the town in awe as Volgrim flies towards the castle. So, anyway.
Ghost town, the smell of ash. As you step in, the ash is disrupted and floats around you. Fire, smoke, death, pain, blood smells. Bang.
Yeah, well done.
That was that's evocative.
Cool.
To say the least.
Let's move on from the very dark, dismal.
But I feel like when Stepberg is like not attacked, I feel like it smells really great. I feel like it smells like kind of how Trey said Humble Hill smells. I can smell like pastries. I can smell like Leavenworth. Yeah. I imagine Leavenworth.
I was gonna say it's like an Oktoberfest. Like I smell like beer and I guess like I don't know.
Yeah, people being merry.
People being merry. Yeah, lederhosen. Yeah. People wearing lederhosen.
The smell of sulfur, smoke burning your eyes, making you teary. You might hear the crackle of small fires, burnt wood collapsing. Yeah.
Really well done.
The acrid smell of burning at the back of your throat. Acrid. Wow. The sound of weeping.
Let's move on to the city of Fortia. So the hero kind of gathers themselves here at the base of the bridge. Seeing the dragon is kind of overtaking the kingdom. After seeing the damage at Stepberg, the hero thinks, I can't let this happen again. I can't let this happen, right? So the idea here, as far as the goal is going, just so we can kind of keep track, I think the idea of like a burnt down city, it sort of represents this idea of looking back on your old life. There's kind of there's comfort in thinking about your previous self, maybe even not as good of a version of yourself. So thinking back on that, it actually brings comfort, especially as you're giving this immense effort to try and change something important about your life. There is kind of this Stepberg moment where you see this you kind of see your past being like burnt down before you. And this idea is like, it'd be so comfortable just to backtrack and go back home and give up. But I think the challenge of Stepberg is having to walk through the sacrifice and having to like really experience and viscerally understand that accepting this quest and putting all this effort into making this change in your life is costly. And the what you have to pay is the comfort of your old life. So it's a little dark, obviously, but we like that kind of deeper tone to it. The hero has to walk through, what potential failure would feel like if they don't continue forward, right? So anyway.
This is a really good point. Anna mentioned, this is the map you set out with. And when you reach Stepberg, you find it burned.
Dang. Yeah.
It's crazy, like... and it's something we've included in the newest iteration of the journal is that when we first made the journal, we made it so you could see the whole journey ahead of you at the beginning. Whereas now, every time you reach a reflection, a little bit more of the journey is actually unveiled to you because you don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
So yeah, this is definitely the most idealized version of Istoria.
Yeah.
Trey mentioned, nostalgia provides a great nepenthe. I never heard that word before. As you finally sit, change is there. Change is achievable. It's right there if you in reach. It's right there if you just reach for the proverbial stars. Yeah. The nepenthe becomes a new weight. Kill the past to embrace the future. I need to figure out what that word means.
Nepenthe. Never heard it. Good word, Trey.
A lot of E's. Steppers is the burned bridges and friendships that have left because you chose to better yourself.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. I think too, we kind of talked about in the Cave of Contemplation, like, you have this shadow self, right? And it starts to rise up a little more aggressively once kind of the minutiae is taken care of, right? Like once all the distractions of like habits and going to the gym and like doing all kind of the surface level things are taken care of, you have this deeper shadow self that might want to sabotage your journey, that might want to ruin things for you. And I think that squaring up with that shadow self at kind of the final showdown, if you will, in the city of Fortia, the Castle Anima rather, you kind of have to face it, right? You have to face that shadow self, which is kind of scary, right? Again, it's that deeper, darker part of goals that I think the true change comes from. You want to lose weight, but really you want to have a better body image. Well, maybe you lose the weight, but then the body image problem is still there, right? So then you have to face that thing, and that kind of becomes your final showdown. And maybe even that showdown is like a lifelong thing. So anyway, we'll pause that, and then we'll move into the city. Kyle, you walk into the city, and let's pretend there's not a dragon there.
So this is just where the city lies now.
Let's pretend it's just like it's kind of the big city of Istoria. For everyone on Facebook and on Instagram, what do we smell? What do we hear?
So I think it's loud. I think this is the first place in Astoria that's truly a loud place. I think there's a lot of rustle and bustle. I think there's the sound of like commerce, people trading and bartering. I don't know if we have an official currency for the land of Astoria, so I'm assuming that it's a barter system. So I feel like there's a lot of yelling, like I'll give you this, I mean that. Maybe there's some. Well, the issue is the Castle Anima. The Anima people are different animals.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like people couldn't be trading goats because goats are people. So it's like they're trading things that they have for other things. So
it's like a big marketplace. I think especially on the lower rim of it, like you kind of see this outer outer inner rim, I guess you could say. You have these little houses and stuff. I kind of imagine that being the trade district.
Yeah.
You kind of walk right in, and that's immediately you're kind of bombarded. It's kind of like you're walking through a mall, and all those people at the stands are kind of like trying to get your attention. That's what I think of. Some are like bears, so they're like big and burly and kind of take up a lot of space, and they don't have a lot of like social awareness. And then you have like the giraffes, who are kind of like quieter and taller. They can kind of see everything, and they're more reserved, And then you have
wear green pants.
They wear the green pants, and you have other little kind of quirky animals here and there.
Yeah.
I'm curious if anyone has.
We have a couple definitions of nepenthe. I don't even know if I'm saying it correctly. Nepenthe means to banish grief from a troubled mind, or specifically nepenthe is a fictional medicine for sorrow, a drug of forgetfulness, mentioned in ancient Greek literature and Greek mythology, depicted as originating in Egypt. The carnivorous plant genus Nepenthe is named after the drug Nepenthe. Wikipedia.
Wow.
Lauren said, as therapist, one of my main approaches is to help others on all parts of self. Every part is important. Every part has a message. Every part serves a purpose. The more we own all parts of ourselves, the less shame, guilt, and fear we carry forward in our lives towards ourselves and towards others. Wow. That's incredible.
Who said that?
Lauren Elizabeth.
Lauren, thank you. This is actually a very vulnerable moment for us.
Yeah.
We recently got a review of the digital bundle, and I'm not sure who wrote it, but it was like a 3-star review, and it basically said something along the lines of like, this is really great, but I wish there was more, more psychology aspects to it. And I think that Lauren just really nailed the tone of something that if we're being critical, we kind of think the journal's missing a little bit of. And it's kind of that deeper understanding. We've done a lot of work as far as like building the lore, as far as like the actual goal setting tools that are in the daily pages and things like that. Something that we're kind of struggling, I think, to work on and better ourselves in is kind of attaching that lore to like cognitive behavioral therapy, and making that like very clear, not making that feel like it's a really big leap and kind of trying to force that connection. I think part of it is like we don't feel super comfortable bridging those gaps because we're not therapists. And so anyway, I guess thank you so much, Lauren, for that. And for everyone out there, like if you could help us as time goes on, maybe we can have like little descriptions. Like we have the lore of little places. Maybe we can have like just very clearly set out, like in real life, this represents this part of this. Because I think we kind of have ideas of it. But just for the sake of this discussion here on this live stream, thank you for like putting that out there. That was like really great.
Yeah.
I don't know. That meant a lot to me.
I agree.
So,
Yeah.
Cool.
And also like incorporating stuff like that without it feeling like a workbook. We want it to feel like something you can take on your journey with you.
Right.
And it's not like in a homework assignment. So
Yeah, it's not
there is
like
that.
deep diving therapy because we don't want our journals to feel like there's some kind of supplement for therapy.
Yeah.
We want it to be more action based than academically based, and so it's a hard balance to strike, especially when you get into like psychology and like goal planning. It can just be so heady, and like sometimes that can block people from actually taking action. And that's our biggest fear as well. So anyway, it's a dance, it's a battle, but we appreciate you giving some of your wisdom because we could really use it. So thank you.
Yeah. And then so Tanya, our plan is that as we dive deeper into letters from the mentor, there would be some of those deeper meanings. So this is kind of like our first time really explaining the world to the world.
Yeah, like honestly, we've never had this conversation.
Yeah.
Before we just got the map done this morning, literally. So this is our first time really going all the way through it, noticing all the very small details, and kind of telling the story of Istoria.
Obviously, we talked about the psychological parts of like the different areas, but we haven't necessarily talked about how we feel about how they would smell.
Yeah, that's true. Cool. So we have the trade district. You know what I actually imagine being here? I imagine the library. We're kind of calling it the Hall of Heroes. The library is kind of ran by the mentor. He kind of calls himself historian. He has his kind of library of books, and guess what those books are? They're completed heroes journals.
Yeah,
that's right. The land of Istoria. Within it is the mentor who comes to the hero's Humble Hills home. He is kind of the overseer of the library, wherein the books, they're not like spell books or books on trade or anything like that. The library is full of completed heroes' journeys, journals, so to speak. And the idea there being that like it's wise to keep your journey and remember what you went through. Remember the growth that happened during that period. So we're getting very lore centered, but anyway, that's somewhere in the castle for me.
I'll read a couple of these.
Let's hear it.
Tanya said, "Smell of spices, fruit, fresh. Smell of spices, fruit, fresh meat, fish, meat, cloth." That was tough for me. I don't know why. Jack said, "My teenagers are watching this with me and loving it." Well, that's awesome.
Great.
Yeah,
we love it.
The Cheyenne said, "The market is bustling. People walking by, you hear the blacksmith making weapons, the jewelers lift a necklace, and the sun hits the stone, sending a rainbow of light across the ground. Everyone is busy with their own agenda." Yeah. Troy says, "Bombastic noise from a lively street greets you, a stark juxtaposition from the teeth-gnashing whales that sailed on the winds in the dragon's wake. Sweet tastes and scents fill your mouth and nose as you sit and take it all in. A moment's peace was earned." Wow. That's really great.
Man, this is fun.
Lauren responded and said, "Yes, analysis paralysis. Having story to be the main theme with psychology incorporated as relevant makes sense." And then, yes, Renee, so we have one bridge. That's a really interesting point that you brought up. The first draft of the journal, the first draft of the map had a bridge over here, and then also a bridge where the Grand Chasm is. But we needed the castle to not be accessible from the Humble Hills because we needed you to go all the way around this journey.
This makes no sense.
So that's why that is the way. And then if you get the journal, you'll see that after the grand fight with the Volgrim, you all fly home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how they get home. Is they fly home. So anyway, not to ruin the story, but after the hero, sees at the beginning of this bridge that the castle is kind of being overrun by, Volgrim, and he's kind of brought his own shadow self to Volgrim and awoken him, and kind of his world is sort of being burnt down by his shadow self. He kind of collapses, and then the people who come to his aid are the allies that he helped throughout his journey to this point.
We have 8 seconds left on Instagram. If you watch on Instagram, thank you so much. We're going to keep going on Facebook, but thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye. I forgot that Instagram has a limit.
Do we download the video? What do we do?
I'll just leave it. Yeah. Cool. What was I saying? Oh yeah, he collapses, and then the pangolins and the tortoise, the mentor comes, the climbers come, and they sort of lift his spirits. They kind of have this resurrection page, which is also very hero's journey. Give him the strength, give him the confidence to go face his shadow self, to which he obviously does. He goes in. And this part's actually really important to us. So we did this for a reason. He doesn't go and kill the dragon. He doesn't go stab Volgrim in the heart. He actually goes in and slays the shadow self out of the dragon, which I know is a little nitpicky, but the idea there being the dragons that we come across in our life. There's actually a thread about dragons yesterday in the group that we saw. The dragons that we often demonize in our life, like the big problems that we live with, the insecurities we live with, the anxieties we might have. I think a good psychologist will say that you don't need to ignore those. You don't need to kill them, so to speak. You actually need to befriend them and learn to live with them. They're not all bad. And so the idea there is like, and the closing scenes of the journal, actually you see the dragon interacting with everyone. They're all celebrating together. The dragon actually isn't so bad. The idea there being like this process of setting a goal and getting deep, you kind of get to meet your dragon. And at first it feels like this thing's going to kill me. But what you end up learning is that there's good and bad parts to that. And you don't need to kill it or ignore it or like extinguish it. You need to befriend it and really face that darkness, which is very Jungian, and become friends with it and learn from it.
Yeah.
And then
the letter from the mentor yesterday, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. And that's a great expansion on that would be the letter from the mentor yesterday. And then like Kyle said, like that dragon actually is the thing that takes them kind of back to their ordinary world, so to speak. It's kind of the gateway to their ordinary world. They come back to cruising altitude, and then the hero, hopefully you is the name of the hero as well. You have a new like ordinary world. This is your new reality. You have all these new allies. You have a new confidence. You've befriended what you were most fearful of when you started this thing. And hopefully you have some like really cool real world results. So that is the map of Istoria. That was fun.
That was super fun. I have some comments I want to catch up on.
Go ahead.
Alrighty, so we have Nicole said this has been a really interesting discussion in live broadcast. Well, thank you. Yeah, this has been extremely interesting. Lauren said, "Oh my God, yes to the library." Love that.
Thank you, Lauren.
John said, "Made it in late, lol, just in time to have my mind blown by a library full of completed heroes journals." Melissa said, "The idea of completed heroes journal is wise and very old, in a very old concept. It's biblical even." Yeah, like that.
It's cool.
Yeah, Renee couldn't see the edges, so that's why the bridge was unseen.
Oh.
Eric said, "Incense from a passing ceremonial march, noise and laughter from street performers." I like that. Yeah, I like the idea of like a ceremonial march or like a parade or like a lot of just like something very like something that means a lot to the people of Fortia.
Yeah.
It's like having like very something. Yeah, I'm not saying good words. Lauren likes Lauren said, "I love this dragon slash and shadow analogy."
Yeah.
And then Melissa made the joke, "Hello, darkest night, friends." Yes.
That's good. Well, this was a lot of fun. I mean, obviously, we don't know we're going to do this map yet, but we wanted to just kind of walk through it with you and play a little, like, sounds and smells game throughout it. But it kind of turned into, like, us talking about the whole concept of the journal and why we made it in the first place. So thank you for tuning in. If you guys have been here, this was a much longer live stream than we anticipated.
I did one final point.
Go ahead.
So I don't know how many of you out there have played any of the Pokemon games. In more recent renditions, they've done a thing where after you beat the Elite Four, you complete the game, you go back to your home, and then if you wanted to, you can go play the gym leaders again, but they all have like they're a lot more difficult.
I see.
A lot higher level Pokemon and so on and so forth. And I feel like that's like in a lot of ways is like the land of Astoria. The reason we liked making it in a circular motion is that after you finish your first 3-month journey and you set out from Humble Hills again, you have new challenges and you have new things that are going to happen to you, and you're going to take the information you had from your first time through Astoria, but a lot of times the foes you face will be a lot stronger, and a foe you wouldn't be able to beat the first time you went through.
Mm-hmm.
So there is that idea of continual growth and going through this cycle that I think for me is really inspiring. The idea of like facing a monster, and while I'm facing it, knowing that if this had faced me before, I wouldn't have been able to beat it. And now it's like it's an easy.
It's a big level up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to beat the game twice.
Yeah.
That's a good word. Yeah. Cool. Do we have anything else?
That is all for today. We will come back on Saturday. We don't have no RPG this weekend. We are planning on doing a third, but I think we're going to give it a couple of weeks to rest as we prepare for pre-orders. We love answering questions, so email us, send us messages on Facebook. Let us know if there's any way we can help answer any questions as far as pre-orders are concerned, or if you have any goal questions. Actually, goal questions are probably better on the actual feed because you're not just pulling from 2 people, you're pulling from 11,000. So that's a lot more beneficial. So, yeah.
Cool. Thank you guys for hanging out with us today. We will most likely sell the map in some capacity at some point. We're going to get it framed for our own home office here. We'll see how it looks, and we'll kind of show you guys on the live stream so you can get an idea of what it would look like in your home or wherever you want to put it. And thank you so much. You guys are the best.
Thank you all as well. Everyone say thank you. We're saying thank you.
Thank you. So much love.
Yeah.
So much love.
All right.
All right, guys.
Until next time. I'm trying.